Okay. This is another video about how I personally feel and view things, and how racism affects my life, and just other things. Dating, dating, and with racism. It's uh, it's weird. You would think racism, like the obvious, like, oh, he's black, yeah, I don't want to date him, that obvious thing. But I feel a lot of people don't talk about the racism that black on black racism. It's kind of like this. I found myself kind of racist to my own my fellow black woman, or my black woman. Or I'm saying so. It wasn't because I hated them, but when I was in my high school days, it was just a general, like, consensus that like, the black women were either usually really ratchet and really loud and obnoxious, or they would be the very nerdy, quiet type, just like me. Um, or it would just, like, they would have undesirable traits, like they would look attractive unless they were really attractive. One would want to deal with them, and that was that's something that I struggled thinking back on it. It was popular opinion, the views of others that persuaded me into thinking that way. Like, sorry, she was only used as a sexual nature. I regret that every day because they black women aren't. They're they were kids just like me. They were young adults. They were experiencing the same pain. They were going through the same stuff. But I don't know why. I I felt like the white counterpart of just, oh, she's a girl, maturing. She has a career and future, and she's just going through high school. She's just going through the motions. I felt that that every other race had something going for them. They eventually got a goal, and the black women, they didn't have anything. So I work with something that doesn't have anything, and part of it was, I guess, I saw it in myself. I was like, I don't have anything. I don't have much to offer except for hard work. But I don't bring anything to the table but myself. Other people bring hard work and money, or they bring money, and they're already academically smart, or they have beauty. And like I said, I don't feel attractive. Um, it plagued my mind constantly when I started to grow up and awaken and realize, what I was a part of and what I'd done. I apologize deeply, but it did happen, and I can't ignore it. I think we're raised and taught that black women aren't attractive, especially with the black man. It's not that we hate you. It's like I genuinely had fun with the black girls when we talked. They would tease me, but it was always fun. It was never a very harsh manner. But we're taught. I think we're taught to hate ourselves. So why date someone that looks so similar? You know, uh, you. you try to push on this like, hey, if I date a white woman, I'll be seen, you know, higher class or something. Oh, there's a lot that goes into it, but it's an image thing. It's the saddest thing I think one of the saddest things I experienced. I constantly, I have to deal with some things that aren't necessarily related to being black, but then are added because I'm black. Like things, it's its own separate package. But then there's more weight tied because I'm black. It's like there's dealing with man issues and then there's dealing with black issues. But then it somehow becomes even heavier because there's a third category of black man issues. You know, it's kind of like I think of it like this. Let's say you go to the store on a military base, and let's say you pick up food from the food court in front of the store, and you buy that food, and you're like, oh, you know what? It'd probably be cheaper to just go to the store and get a drink instead of buying a drink from there, because the store actually has bigger drinks or more variety. But you're you're taught, not to go into stores with bags because you'll be seen as a criminal. Sorry for the noise. You're seen as a criminal. You could be spotted, or someone could get the wrong impression. But you're in full military uniform, and it's quite obvious that you're on a military base in a military store. But you still have that mindset. That's that's a black issue. That's a That's something that I don't think our white counterparts really experience. Yeah, you might think, oh, they're stealing, but you don't really know that how dangerous we feel. Like you like someone might stop. Yeah, I think the highest that you're gonna go is you gotta explain, but you got a receipt. You're thinking that someone is not even gonna give you the chance to explain. It's just automatically gonna be police and then death. I think that's the difference. Is that I feel like when you're paranoid, when you're white, there's a few more steps. You don't want the inconvenience, but you don't think of death. I think immediately, even though I'm not even doing anything wrong, that no one's going to give me the chance to explain, and then I just die. And there's also this like weird image thing when you die that they like to bring up anything and everything in your past to try to justify your death. I don't know why that's a thing. Even if in the scenario that caused his death had nothing to do with his past. It wasn't like oh, he was a robber 5 years ago and he went to a store, paid for everything that he was gonna get, and the police just misidentified him and just shot him. It was like, oh, he's a robber, he deserved it. It's like, then what's the point of rehabilitation? What's the point of redemption? What's the point of just so you know is that justice? Because like he did something wrong 5 years ago and paid the price. He went to jail for it. He got out. It's also that case. It just it feels like sorry, it feels like no one understands you. No one gets you, or you feel like people do understand you, but they're in the same situation, so they can't do anything about it. You're just tired all the time. And going back to dating, with that always on your mind, it affects you. Like I'm scared that I get stared at, looked at. That if I say something that might affect or how our friends view us and our social standing in our neighborhood. It's like think of this: your political affiliation is going to eventually get tied to your relationship if your relationship gets deep enough, right? Like a Democrat can date a Republican, right? But marriage is a different thing because now you're tied, you're more closely connected. I'm not saying it can't work. I'm saying it's very complicated. If she's a staunch Republican and he's a staunch Democrat, I'm almost certain it's not going to work. Just alone that political nature, I think anyone would think it was reasonable to expect that it wouldn't work if their whole if a part of their identity is part of a political group or a political belief or just a belief period. What I'm saying is, um, my beliefs might affect my relationship. If I say Black Lives Matter, and I say I date someone who is not against black people but not pro Black Lives Matter, and I'm like, oh, I want to put signs up in our house and say we get married, we have a house. She's like, oh, I, I guess I'm not really affiliated. Well, she's going to be affiliated because she's affiliated with me. I can't take her out and let's say I become a prominent member of a movement. I'm not. I'm just using Black Lives Matter. I'm just using it as an example. Then it's she would still be listed. It's not saying she if she supports me, she supports the movement by association, and vice versa. And I say she's a Republican, she's a staunch Republican, supporter and part of the movement. Even if I say I don't necessarily, like the Republican Party, but because I'm married to her and I support her, I can't be like there's certain things that I would go against. And not saying that it couldn't work. Sometimes, like some situations would be more difficult than others. I'm not saying that there won't be feelings, but it's those things that literally would mess up the relationship. It would make it more tension. It would make it, and you can't ignore it. That's the thing that I also hate. People are like, can we all get together? No, there's some things that are absolute that if you believe in, I can't get along with you. Yes, there's compromise, but then there's some things you can't compromise. It's like saying, like, okay, we teach Black history in schools, but we still keep the name Robert E. Lee High School. Like that's the thing that people say to try to compromise and get on. Not, no, I don't want to go to a school named Robert E. Lee High School. I don't want to. I can't compromise on that. It's something that literally is just like dumb as hell. It's not like we're talking about a different. Oh, we're talking about Robert E. Lee from 2008. He saved the cat from tree. No, we know who Robert E. Lee was. Even his ancestor, even his current. Sorry, I can't remember the name. How to pronounce that? But yeah, his descendant. That's what it is. His current descendants are like, yeah, that guy wasn't that cool. I don't even like it. Why would you name? We know what he did. Like no one's. I'm shocked that people still have his name. Uh, what he did, it's those things that make dating hard. Because then even black people, it's like, hey, are you Black Lives Matter black? Are you black? Or are you pro black? Are you Republican black? Are you that conservative black? Are you that coon black? It's like it's still trying to see what that person is. And it's not that it's like even if we did believe in the same movements, are we still compatible in that way? It's not that it's like, oh well, she's a Republican. It's not that if I see a Republican lady and like we can click, but then it's like that movement with her political beliefs, that the belief would say, you know what, even though I do have feelings for you, I can't separate that. I feel that there's more. There's things that I can't go beyond. There's literal walls. If I did it, I would have to compromise my beliefs to have a relationship with you. And it's just limiting our choices. It's limiting how we feel. So it's like we're constantly depressed because it's like you, we feel like with black males, and to keep that same uh, keep our morals, keep our morals, and still be proud black men. Our choices in women are so stagnant, so selective. I'm not saying that we can't date white women. We can't say we can't date Hispanic women. It's just doing it, and our partner doesn't really. I'm not saying she got to be wild into the movement, but I'm saying that doesn't understand and support the movements. It can it can be devastating because it's like I can really love somebody, but if they're not, you know, understanding why I'm frustrated, why this is important, why these things happen, it's just eventually going to break down. It's going to fall. It's going to fail. Sex is one thing. Sex is sex. Yeah, it's like I'm not going to deny that some people don't have the same political beliefs that have sex because physical attraction. I'm talking about relationships. I'm talking about telling somebody that you're not happy right now. We On that topic, I'm going to say real quick: Black people don't have counselors like white people. We don't have therapists. There are not that many black therapists, and even with therapists, how many of them really know black issues? Like I'm saying, they know some issues, they know some problems, they have some training. I'm not going to deny that, but it is like a man trying to like imagine you're a female and you go to a male therapist and you talk about how your period tied to a lot of your emotional trauma. I'm not gonna say he won't say something intelligent and make you feel a little bit better, but he's not gonna speak from experience. He wouldn't really know. He dealt with it. He wouldn't really know how it feels. He's only comparing from what he felt at the time, how much that experience, he could probably compare it. Counselors, therapists, they don't know. If they're not, they can experience something similar. I'm not denying everyone can experience racism, but I feel like black racism and white racism is different. If a black person, goes into a neighborhood and white people are like, get out of here, N word, whatever. Yeah, it's different from if a white person went into a black neighborhood and said, get out of here, honky crack or whatever. It could still emotionally scar them. I'm not denying that. But it's like, it's so commonplace. It's like when we view white, you usually think of them more successful. You think of them, higher up. When you look at black people, you just like they're usually more tended to be lower, down, uh, you know, down. It's like I noticed with black racism, it's more of a reaction. It's reactionary because we're so used to it being tossed at it that we eventually just become racist ourselves because we're so used to just, hey, if we see a white person, they're gonna be racist to us anyway, so we can just be the same to them. I'm not saying that I approve and I accept and I like it. I'm not saying that it's any less. It's just there's a difference between it. It's understanding that difference is important because people say that it's not everything is equal and exactly the same. So comparing it, it feels like a wound. It feels like it's like someone punching you in the same spot for 18 years and then someone getting punched maybe in the same spot for 3 years. You know the pain. You know similar, but you don't know how long I've been dealing with it. You don't know how hard it was. Like it was this person just punched you with a regular fist. This person punched me with bloody knuckles one time. I mean with brass knuckles. It's not saying that you did not experience the pain. That's the point I'm getting. But the difference, the longevity, the the story behind it. That's why um, it's hard for me to talk to white counselors. It's hard for me to talk to white therapists. It's it's because it's like I know you experience the pain. I can honest to God tell you I know what you're speaking from is from the heart and you mean it in the most genuine way. But the fact that I had to deal with this so long, I feel like it was so much longer. It's my whole life. You, people don't understand. There's more to it. It's not just someone not liking you. It's someone not liking your whole people. It's not. It's someone. It's asking girls out that don't like you because you're black. It's going to stores and even black people looking at black people shady. It's like these black people. It's a level of paranoia. It's a level of of psychological warfare that goes more into it. It's, racism is not a straightforward. It's not a one shot. It's racism is a death sentence, but it's you get killed in multiple different ways. It's it's one thing to get punched in the face. It's another thing to get punched in the face while you're also drugged. Black people can deal with racism if hey nigger, just like, alright, cool. It's another thing to be like, hey nigger, well your kids are right there, and that's your boss, and you have a criminal background, and you can't, you there's not that many jobs, and your rent is due. It's different when it's so much more. When it's not just the word, it's not just like, hey, I'm pretty sure if we were on equal footing, if we had the same thing, if I knew you did not have more, you couldn't gain more, I'm less likely going to be mad that you said the word. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be frank. It's like I know at some point it's just like, hey, you you don't really have that power over me. You're not. I'm still gonna hit you, but I'm not gonna beat you for it. People use that word thinking that it's something over us. It's a derogatory term, and I feel like black people we say it as kind of a joke, as a term of endearment, as a it's like when you make fun of your friends, like an inside joke. It's because I know that we're not saying it to be hateful. We're not saying it like, you know, it's probably, I'm probably not the guy to explain it to her. But I'll say it like this: when you go to Africa, you don't hear Africans saying that. When you go to Jamaica, you don't really hear Jamaicans saying it. They don't use the term. They don't use the word. When you go to America, you hear it often. It's commonplace with the black people. When American blacks, African blacks, and Jamaican blacks, it's not that we don't all experience racism. It's different. We live in there's some really blunt ass racism, and you live there so long. Sometimes you go like I was lucky. I went out the country once. I went to Jamaica, and you know it was I didn't really hear the word once. Um, you're just exposed to nothing but black people. There was still racism, and I am very clear on the racism, but it was more of a social political racism. It was more of a economical racism. It wasn't really racism to your face. People treated people differently. They're like, this is higher class, and then there's nothing but black people and poor black people at that over here. But over here, it's like in America, racism is everywhere. It's social, it's political, it's in your face, it's whispered in your ears, and you're told that you're ugly, and then and then the same people that said you were ugly are trying to get the features like you. It's like, oh, your lips are too big, and then they'll go get some lip stuff done, inject their lips to make them bigger and fuller. It's psychological. It's ingrained racism. It's just it's that ingrained racism that makes you so crazy. It makes insane people because it's so insane that you're just like anything you do, it feels like your action is then tied to racism. Like it's like everything is tied to your race. When you go to the grocery store, you're like, is this grocery store pro black? Is this cashier going to cashier me correctly? My correct change and go look at me funny and gonna call security on me? It's just I shouldn't have to be polite every time I see a police officer. That's their job. I'm sorry. If that's your job, if that is literally your job, um, think of it like a waitress that has to go in every day. Fake smile, fake. How you doing today? Might get your work. Says the same thing over and over, routine. Still got to do the same procedures again and again. Now I get it. Being a cop is a little more stressful. It has a little bit more things, but still they have a procedure to do. And if you can't fulfill those procedures, then don't do that job. It's, if you feel that you're slipping, and it's your duty to catch yourself and then catch others who they themselves are slipping with procedures, catch them and then say, "Hey, um, I don't think you can do this job." Also, defunding the police is not um, abolishing the police. It is just saying we're giving a lot of money to the police to do their job. Their job is to police people. We don't want them to do their job. That's the funniest thing. We want police to just be there as a just in case or absolute last resort. You understand? We don't want people to keep going to jail. We don't want people to do bad things. We don't want people to be criminals. We want people to be progressive, make mistakes, but then arise from them, redeem themselves and become functioning members of society. So why not give the money to society, make society a little better, and then make people say, you know what, I don't want to run the risk of being a criminal. I want to go to school, and I, you know, make it easier for them to do that, so they don't have an excuse. It's like that old saying. It's an old stripper saying, "I'm paying my way to college." They don't have to use their body in manner to finally get something decent. It's like, okay, so I can pay my way to get an actual good job. Just imagine just telling your daughter, well, you're going to have sex with a lot of men to get a decent job as a doctor. I hope one of them isn't a rapist or abuser or stalks you. Or, okay, son, you don't have to sell these drugs and hope the police don't catch you to finally get a good career. You want to be a lawyer. That's what I'm saying. Defunding the police is saying, hey, you know what, the money that we're using to give to you to, you know, do your job very brutally, instead of, doing that to make sure you do your job quicker, how about we give that money to the schools or to the food, to anything, to really any system like libraries, not saying government, jobs, um, buildings, renovation, cleaning, anything, making life as a civilian seem seem way better, way more worth it than running the risk for jail. Because if you look at some of these places, they're horribly kept. They're gerrymandered. They're filled with racism and like plagued with politics. And I say that is like, it's like, oh, I'll help you, but you got to do certain such and such and meet certain standards. And some, if you don't meet one standard, you're done, and all your all your progress is erased. So you got to start all over again in 2 years. You know, politics. Corruption, all that. You see that everywhere. You see it rampant, and you start to just see black everywhere. You start to, I mean, not black people. I mean, you just start to see like black tar. Just life is not worth living. Why should I care about this place if it mistreats me? It's not that I'm not trying to keep my house clean. It's like trying to keep an apartment clean and you know disinfected at all times, and trying to keep cockroaches out, but the whole apartment complex is filled with cockroaches. So it doesn't matter what you do, because you can't escape them, because they're in the roof, they're in the building above, and they're in the building below. So no matter how clean you are, they're always getting in. So how about we take that funding, that the billions of dollars, I mean billions, to just buy weapons to kill the people in the society, and say, you know what, let me, if you make it better, if you give people enough to eat, if you give uh, people good enough food, good enough water, good enough shelter, and good enough jobs, and they're happy with their lives, and they have enough to eat, enough to sleep, enough to drink, and a great place to sleep, or a decent place to sleep, I'm pretty sure no one's going to rebel. No one's going to get angry. No one's going to commit a crime, because you know why? They don't want to lose what they got. They don't want to lose this great deal. There's always going to be an exception to something. There's always going to be someone that wastes something. But, with everything, there's always going to be something. So now, maybe try running some risks sometimes, or trying something different instead of trying to fix the same thing you know, that we've been trying to fix. You can't keep patching up the same thing over and over and over again and expecting it to work. Eventually, you got to say, you know what? Got to make something new. Got to make something different. Got to think outside the box here, people. Or, Maybe try someone else's idea. Reuse an old idea, but revamp it and improve it a little bit. See why this failed. And give it a chance, because that's also a thing with politics. They don't give things a chance or give it enough time to really take effect, or they break it so much that it's never going to work. Period. Like Obamacare, it's like you take so much out of it, what the original plan was, and of course it's not going to work. And then you're going to say, "Oh, he failed." Yeah, I know you can't give everything that you want. I know that's compromise has to happen. That's politics. But with the reform, with the police, hey, you know what? Let's see what taking some of the money away from the police would do, and giving it to the schools and giving it to renovations of the city, and making and also holding police accountable, and also holding politicians accountable, and making sure those funds are going to the proper place. We also have to put money towards doing that, because I personally feel like that should go to a civilian. That should go to a person with a financial degree that doesn't really have too strong a tie to politics, with a certain time limit, maybe 1 or 2 years, and then switch to another person to watch those politicians, because they like to skim money off, and then it doesn't really work. Building the city, making it better, starting with the ghettos, not starting with the actual good parts of the city, starting with the ghettos. I mean, buying or lowering the amount of money that lowering rent. Let's say you take something that, I don't know, $1 billion from the police to buy guns and ammunition. Let's say you do that, you take that away, and you say, I'm gonna make rent $100 less for a couple months, or for let's say a month. For this certain area, for and it's a ghetto. It's just more lower income. Watch how crime would drop. It's like, hey, if you guys can prove that you're not going to destroy anything, and drugs aren't going to be rampant, just like, hey, make life more easy. Say, hey, we're going to try to put more stuff in here. We're going to try to make it cleaner. We're going to try to put more jobs on the city. Because people will help, but they have to worry about always going back and working 2 jobs and trying to make ends meet. And, also trying to make ends meet means that they're not going to be able to spend time with their kids. If you got 2 jobs, you're not with your kids. And your kids need parents in your life. They need father figures and mother figures to be to teach them, not just sit them on a TV and teach them a message on Sesame Street. No, they need parents in their life that when you become like a CEO, or even a higher end or higher income family, or a moderate income family, that your job does allow you certain days of leave and certain benefits to go see your kids and spend time with your kids and your wife. That some jobs, like lower end jobs, they don't give, or they don't. You don't have a high enough tenure. They just don't care. You notice like a CEO might take a 30-day vacation. Yeah, I guess he works hard, but he can take a vacation, go see his kids, so his spot is still secured. If taking a vacation, and they have the money, it's a paid vacation. I shouldn't have to work, because I used to work in a certain job, and it's a certain tenure. It's like first year you get a week paid vacation, next year you get 2 weeks paid vacation, so on, so on. You work a certain amount of years, then you get a month vacation. But the thing is, I have to work so long, and it's not like things don't just happen. It's like, and then you gotta explain your situation. You gotta always explain why you need to go somewhere, or why something needs to happen, or why you need days off, and you don't get paid for those days off. Like, imagine your son gets sick. Oh, I need this day off, and they'll give it to you, but then you don't get that money for it. And if you really need that check, you gotta run the risk of, can my son just handle it, or is it really necessary? And no one should have to run that risk. No one should sacrifice having like eating and having a place where they get to stay, or their kids' health. So it's like, it's that I'm talking about. That I don't care if the police are funded very well. I don't really care for that. If the people that they're supposed to be policing are dying, what's the point of the police if the people are dying? Well, they're not doing anything illegal, dying legally, starving legally, I guess. Yeah, it's kind of fucked. All right, I guess that's it.